And now we are joined here on WSCR The Score. It's rare that we have a guest join two shows in the same day. I'm told that he called. It is columnist Jason Whitlock from FoxSports.com on The Score. Jason.
Great. How are you guys?
All right. How are you?
I'm very good. I just, people are tweeting me that you guys are lighting me up, so I figured I'd call in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Correct. 100%. That's correct. Those tweets were correct.
Yeah. I haven't been. I'm in L.A. I'm not able to listen, so you got to. I don't know what you guys have been saying, but I just figured I'd call in and help you out.
Well, if there's something to which you're objecting, feel free to.
Yeah,
I can't listen to the show. I'm out in L.A.
What are they tweeting you? That we're just beating you up, or that?
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have. I think that you say that when you go, and I wrote for a long, long time, and if I was in your position today, and not just your position, several others, I would be ashamed of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I would 100%. I wrote for 20 years. I would be 100% ashamed of myself.
I'm sorry.
For what
tell
you
me
did.
your name.
Terry Boers.
Terry Boers. Okay, you worked at the Chicago Tribune, correct?
I worked at Sun-Times, worked at the Detroit Free Press. I would be 100% ashamed of myself and feel awful, but I would never do it in the first place because I would not take a little bit of something I don't know about and write it, because it would have never, in those days, I couldn't have got that past the desk. Nobody would have said, oh, yeah, why don't we run this, even though I have no facts to back it up. Why don't we run
Terry,
this?
Were you a columnist?
I was.
At the Sun-Times?
That's correct. I had a lot of columns killed.
What time frame?
88 to 91.
Okay. I was in college, so I don't remember that. But
so I'm just telling
you couldn't write your opinion about whether you thought Jay Cutler's body language, whether you thought Jay Cutler didn't show the necessary grit, toughness, whatever.
It's a different column.
That's not what you wrote. You wrote, I don't need an MRI to confirm King Cutler quit.
Right. Now, you can take a sentence, and if you were a writer, you know this. You can take a sentence and make it say anything and take it out of the totality of the article.
Are you backing off your stance that Jay Cutler quit?
No, if I was backing off, I'd take the column down. You just can't take one sentence out of a column.
Do you believe Jay Cutler quit? Do you believe he quit?
Yes, mentally, yes, I do. I think he didn't have the right mental attitude from kickoff on. They could see it.
Who could see it?
Who could see it, and how do you know that?
And anybody else watching. Football players, that's why people that actually played the game have a problem with the way he carried himself during this game.
Yeah, but some of them have already retracted their statements, and I don't think anybody gives a
Some of them don't have any backbone, and they don't want to deal with the controversy.
Well, no, they have a backbone, but they have a conscience.
I didn't know that mind reading was part of the job.
We do it all the time. We speculate on people's motives all the time. Don't. We've done it with LeBron James. Just because Jay Cutler is your quarterback.
No.
Neither one of us like him.
Wrong show, Jason.
No. People's motives all the time. Yes, you have.
Neither one of us like him.
To accuse us of being Jay Cutler backers generally is
not
wrong.
True. Not true. I mean, I find him to be a guy I wish were different. I really wish he was a good guy and just a guy people could like, but I completely – look, I'll give you this. We were 100% in favor of the trade, but now that we've seen him up close and personal, I don't like him at all. I don't like him a bit.
That's not an issue for me or most of the people I'm hearing from. I don't care. I supported Barry Bonds, even though he's a jerk. There's a plenty. Hey, Jeff George and I grew up together, and I'm a big supporter of his.
Yes, you are, and that's another thing that's wrong.
Not the greatest personality in the world. Those are non-issues.
Right.
You play the quarterback position. It's a leadership position. Your body language, your mental approach, all of that is very important. Jay Cutler doesn't have the mental makeup. He doesn't carry himself in a way that's appropriate for an NFL quarterback.
That is a different column.
Because what happened on Sunday is another symptom of what people have been seeing all along. When you don't have the mental makeup, that means when you have a slight MCL tear, instead of figuring out a way, how can I play and make this work? Maybe I'm not going to be able to move in the pocket. Instead,
he did try. He did try. He went back out, and the Bears told him to come over and sit down.
He did try against the advice of doctors and trainers.
Based on the opinion of many people who played the game and have been in that situation.
No, you're taking the word of idiots and making it gospel.
Trent Dilfer's not an idiot.
Yes, he is.
Oh, my God, he's registered.
Not an idiot.
Love of God, he's a registered idiot.
Now, hold on. Let's stick.
On what?
Let's stick with the
observation.
Facts here.
I'm reading his mind.
Hold on. Again, now.
Same thing we're doing with Jay Cutler.
Now wait.
No, it's not. No.
Against the advice of doctors and trainers, Jay Cutler chose to take the field. They told him not to, and he begged back on the field and did it anyway. There's no mention of that.
As a journalist, unless we were in the locker room and heard the conversations, that's what they say happened after the fact. I don't know if all that's true. I'm used to organizations, corporations, sports franchises, they lie to the media. I'm used to that. So, yes, that is what they say they told him, and that's fine. We can take it as gospel, or as a journalist, I can be a bit skeptical, and I can take the opinion of people that have actually played the game.
Their opinion from a distance is absolutely meaningless.
And apply it to this situation.
Well, here's the problem I have, is that you've changed your story.
I have not changed my story.
You have, because you told us that you thought he quit from the beginning.
Yeah, I said his mental approach from the beginning was dead wrong. That's what I said.
That's not in your column.
Listen, man, I'm not writing my column right now. I'm having an organic discussion with you.
No, what you are doing is trying
This
to...
is an organic discussion with you.
Which is a fancy way of saying you're trying to justify a mistake.
No, I don't
That's exactly what you're doing.
Repeat my column. It's written.
Yeah, but you're trying to justify...
Yes, but you are... But what you're doing... This is active disinformation that will make people think that you wrote something other than what you wrote.
I'm not. Let me tell you what you're doing. I can't win the debate, so let me change it up and say Jason's changing the debate.
Because
I'm having the discussion with you.
Because I have what you've written in front of me. Mm-hmm. And at no point in this column did you mention it was from the moment he took the field or it's generally about his demeanor. That is not...
Because that wasn't germane to my point. Did you read the beginning of the column? The beginning of the column, most of the column is about calling BS on the people who have said that the LeBron James backlash was racially motivated. The column was primarily about exposing that in this environment, the same thing that happened to LeBron James is happening to Jay Cutler, therefore it is not racism. This is what transpires in this environment. That's what the column was about.
In the column in which you claim Jay Cutler quit on his team after suffering the injury. What's funny? What's funny?
I just told you what but anyway, go ahead, man.
No, what's funny?
I mean, you want to debate these little sentences that you feel like you can win on.
Well, but that's the problem, though.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
The problem is you wrote something that's not true.
Yeah, not the LeBron debate. You know what? I'm actually on your side on that. I never thought it was racial either. What you're doing here is you're taking something and now you're saying, well, I don't believe a word they say. Is that what you do when somebody challenges you on something? Well, I don't believe a word they say. That's a pretty easy way out, pretty convenient. Say, I don't believe that happened. Well, I happen to believe that happened, and there's no doubt that happened, and there's no doubt that he was injured. So, I mean, my point is that you could have wrote this exact column. If you don't like the way he takes the field mentally, September, October, November, December.
Any level of football.
All right, now you know.
Oh my God!
No, now hold on a sec. There's a rule in this business is once you ask that.
We're having a discussion.
Once you've asked that,
any level of football.
See, here's the problem with that because we're talking about NFL football.
I don't care. I'm asking about any level
I've
of
played
football.
as you and I have played.
Asked to play when you're hurt.
You and I have played the same number of NFL snaps. Correct?
That's not the question. Yes, we have. Now,
okay.
Would you answer mine? Have you played any level of football?
No.
Not
after being a kid. No, I didn't like it very much.
Now, the people who have played football, who currently play football, are the ones who, in the same voice, have exposed themselves as being ignorant to the facts.
That's all we're saying.
They have more facts than you do.
No, they don't.
Because they have more experience.
No, it's not about what they experience. It's about what Jay Cutler experienced.
I understand, man. But
no, you wrote something based on. If you don't think he's mentally ready for games, you could have written that September, October, November, December. Anytime he has a bad first half, and he had a lot of bad first halves. I don't think anybody sat around and said, I don't think he was mentally into this game.
I'm not the only person.
Who said he wasn't into it mentally besides you?
Cutler, Jeff George analogy for years, and the knock on Jeff George was he's not mentally capable of being a consistent winning quarterback.
I agree with that.
And so
I covered him in Illinois.
New.
I can promise you he was not.
That's not new. Terry, I know that you were a columnist for a short time, but being ahead of the curve is better than writing what everybody has been saying for years.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being ahead of the curve, but not when you're wrong. Not
I
when you're wrong
don't
factually.
need to repeat stuff that's been said about Jay Cutler for years. I was pushing the conversation forward,
unfairly,
using this as an example of why I think the criticism of LeBron was inappropriate, or criticism of the people.
I'm the only man in America, by the way, who still likes LeBron.
You know what? All that happened, instead of digging in, it would be so easy just to say, you know what? I overreached.
And it would also be easy for you to say, I've never played football, and I'm clueless.
No.
And so I'm saying I don't want to get crossways with the Bears. And so,
right.
Brian Urlacher,
wrong show.
Else is upset.
Wrong show.
I don't have the tummy for that.
Wrong show.
I'm going to defend Jay Cutler.
Wrong.
Bears
Jason
don't even like us.
Yeah,
so, really, you got the wrong show.
You're talking to the wrong show when you're playing the Homer card and the wanting the Bears to like you card.
They don't like us.
There are shows
okay.
where you could play that, not this one.
You've never played football. You don't know what you're talking about. And people that have a different reaction to what they see from Jay Cutler.
You mean the truth? They have a different reaction to the truth of what actually happened? How can you have a different reaction to the truth, whatever level you played? What's that got to do with clearly there was an injury, clearly he went out and couldn't play, clearly Caleb Haney said he was helping him all the way.
National Football League and in college
Heinz Ward went out of a game with the exact same injury.
Now, I want just to be clear here. Do you doubt every MRI result in every sport and or every diagnosis provided in every sport?
Depends on the situation. If I'm the organization and I have a motivation to try to protect my quarterback, then my skepticism goes up. Absolutely.
Okay, so you believe that medical professionals in potential in potential violation of HIPAA laws would do that. Okay, I'm just wondering.
Did you cover the NFL? Do you know any
I
NFL
did. Yeah,
players?
I did.
Yeah. However,
an NFL player, if team doctors don't lie all the time.
However,
they've written books about it.
However, in 2005, when the HIPAA regulations changed, I was on the Bears beat before the regulations changed, and I do think that that's had a significant effect because of the legal exposure that can be incurred by some of these guys. Now,
Brian Urlacher might be listening to this, and he's laughing at that, even though he defends Jay Cutler. That's a joke.
Well, let me ask you a question. If this guy is everything you say he is, and everybody's lying here in the Bears, wouldn't it be wise in the future now? Will you be right then? Maybe you'll turn. Here's the only way you'll be right in what you said about because you can have any opinion you want him. It doesn't bother either one of us. Trust me, Jason. Completely doesn't bother either one of us. But when it's factually incorrect, when that's not what happened, if I'm the Bears and I'm looking at this as, you know what? I don't want this guy around. I'm quietly going to try to get rid of him. I mean, isn't that what you would do in this situation? If you think he's mentally not there and he quits, can he remain a Chicago Bear if that's true what you're writing?
I think that one organization and Josh McDaniel reached that conclusion.
Josh McDaniel, is an ass bag. You know that, right? Is that not true? You like Josh McDaniel?
I don't one way or the other, I don't care.
But he's an idiot,
I don't
though.
have enough
He's also a bad guy. If you're right,
McDaniels is a good guy or bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
I know he talked an organization into getting rid of Jay Cutler. I know that the Bears have money and they made a trade for him. They have a lot of investment in Jay Cutler, and they're not going to give up on him because there is upside to Jay Cutler. He's very talented. Everybody has their flaws that you try to coach them through. Nate Newton was overweight, and the Dallas Cowboys dealt with it because he could play, and they worked their way through it. Nate was dealing too. They're going to try to work their way through Jay Cutler's mental makeup issues and try to help him grow into
let me get this straight.
Quarterback you can win consistently
He
with.
has a bad half against one, and he was awful. He was completely awful. If you want to write, I have no problem with that comment. He was awful the first half. So if he's awful against one of the best defenses in football, therefore he's not mentally there. Nobody said, by the way, he wasn't mentally there. They all said he was a pansy.
This knock has been on Cutler since he was in Denver. It's nothing new.
But that is absolutely true. But unfortunately, it's providing cover for people to play fast and loose with the facts of the case.
I don't think people are playing fast and loose. They're basing it off of what they experienced as football players, what they've seen. They've seen guys with first-degree MCL tears gut it out.
Okay,
or try to figure out a way to play and not have it break down their mechanics. They've seen guys with second-degree MCL tears who don't stand on the sidelines or get on an exercise bike. They're actually on crutches.
If he'd have done that, you'd accuse him of not staying with his teammates.
Wait, so you do believe he suffered a second-degree MCL tear?
I don't know.
Here's I want to nail down.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay. What, if any, injury do you believe is true?
I think he had a knee injury, yes.
You do, so you do.
I think he hurt his knee.
You do?
Yes, I think he hurt his knee.
Okay, but you know how badly? Or you can guess how badly?
I don't know.
Yet you don't trust the Bears?
Hell no.
Okay, but you do believe he hurt his knee?
Yes.
Why?
Because he had a slight little limp.
Oh, so now you've observed an instability enough to diagnose. Okay.
He had a slight little limp.
Okay.
Yes, players have played with that. Quarterbacks have played with that. Quarterbacks have reacted differently when pulled out of a game in that situation.
How did he react?
These are the things about Cutler that players
How did he react?
question.
Right, okay.
How so?
He's disengaged, disinterested.
That's not true, though. You know, that's what Fox wanted you to see. That's not true.
That's not what
His
Fox
best friend on the team is Caleb Haney. You know what he was doing? He was helping him. You know, the first one off the bench when they scored was Jay Cutler.
Haney said. I understand what people said.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Right, but it's not true that he was disengaged.
Yeah, it's not true. That's not true either. I mean, that's what they wanted you to see, but he wasn't disengaged.
Fox was not sitting there trying to kill Jay Cutler, man. Come on, man.
Yeah,
you don't think that's true?
No.
Really?
Oh,
really?
They're okay, but the Bears are lying.
Now who's naive?
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman never even had a serious discussion about Jay Cutler.
They never even showed the injury.
I understand. So
now who's naive? You don't think that it fit their storyline perfectly?
At somewhere called Fox?
Storyline. They didn't. They avoided it because Aikman's not going to criticize the guy.
Well, why not? He played. He's criticized other people on that. He's pretty good about it.
He's a nice guy. He's not a journalist. He's a former athlete.
And Deion Sanders now is a journalist because he sits on a panel with a bunch of other NFL dopes?
Sanders has a different personality than Troy Aikman. And he wasn't calling the game. Troy Aikman and these guys have to go in and interview these players before games. It's a whole different mentality and approach from the broadcast booth as opposed from the studio.
So Deion is straight down the road with this. He's a journalist now. He knows all this. You know what he is? You know what he is? He's I can't really say that word, but that's what he is. I mean, you know, and again, if you take you're in a bad club. That's a bad club to be in.
We're talking with Jason Whitlock of FoxSports.com and WSCR The Score. And I have to say, Jason, I'm a big fan of your work. Yeah. I read every column you write, and what I love the fact that you are willing to take on the hegemony of the self-proclaimed worldwide leader. That warms the cockles of my heart when I see you soldiering against them. Part of it is we
fight it too.
We fight it too, and part of it is I'm just a little disappointed because I didn't think you were one of these guys that would try to find an opening to inflate something into something it's not.
Listen, man, and I may not directly answer the question because I'm not sure if there was a question there, but I don't have a personal problem with Jay Cutler. I don't mind that he has a personality quirk that makes him seem like a jerk. I played college football, and the way that he handled that situation Sunday didn't sit right with me and makes all the criticism I heard about him in Denver, it played out on Sunday, and I'm questioning the guy's passion, love for the game.
How should he have handled it after his Sunday? Should he have disappeared in the locker room?
No, he should have shown more emotion on the sideline. He should have, cameras showing. I don't know. Maybe they missed all the engagement he had with Mike Martz and Caleb Haney.
Maybe
they missed all of that. I don't know.
He had his earphone. He was listening to plays. He knew
what I would have preferred from Jay Cutler is I would have come out on another sack. Literally, I would have figured out a way to play and sit in that pocket and maybe have taken a sack and then because I can't move.
That's acting. That's phony. That's just acting for acting's sake.
Out a way to contribute. This is probably going to irritate a lot of people, but it's what people loved about Brett Favre, man. You had to carry this dude off the field.
See, I thought that a lot of that stuff was phony. And when he came out,
the guy loves the game.
I couldn't wait till they carried him off the field.
That's pandering to the lowest common denominator of football fan.
Listen,
people should be real.
Criticism of Favre, but he loved the game, man. And it's part of it is because, and I got to be careful how I say, but when you're not, sometimes you can be too smart for football, and that. I didn't get into this, but that's what I see from Cutler. I think the guy's actually smart, and you can be too smart for football. The meatheads who just love the game, do whatever the coaches tell them, blah, blah, they fit in more with the football mentality. Sometimes when you're too smart, too cerebral, that passion, because you know how stupid it is. And that's what Favre was, for lack of a better, he was dumb enough to just love the game purely, and you had to, and even though I wasn't built that way, I respect that about him, and when you play that quarterback position, that's what inspires your teammates.
See, Jason, if you wrote that column you're talking about here, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with your feelings about his passion or his lack of passion. I have no problem with that.
That's the column I wrote, but you're picking out individual sentences to do a radio show.
No, we're not. No, not this show. We don't. No. Again, the wrong show.
All I want to know is, and in all honesty, if you had it to do all over again, would you accuse him of quitting?
I would. Yeah. Listen, man, if I had a problem with that column, I would go rewrite it right now or have it taken down. I don't have one problem with that column. Like it more today than I did yesterday.
Because Deion Sanders says stupid things?
No, because it's what I believe.
Okay. Well, but see, again, that's not real. Again, most of it is okay, but your premise that stirred you was the fact that he quit on his team, which isn't true.
No, the premise that stirred me is the lead of my column. I'm watching this and watching the reaction going, see, I told you, all these people saying the LeBron backlash was racist. It's not. Look, they're burning jerseys, Jay Cutler jerseys, the same way they burn LeBron jerseys. That's what drove me. Read my lead. That's what the column is about.
I read your lead, but again, you got into territory that's strictly guesswork and conjecture and based on absolutely nothing of any substance. Other than I don't trust the Bears. I mean, that's not really much of a defense.
No,
it's not much of a defense.
I wrote the columm,
I know.
The Bears hadn't come out with their little Mickey Mouse.
Well, they said it was in the papers the next day that the doctors said they didn't want him to play. He went out and tried, and he came back. That's the next day.
They say all kinds of things after the fact.
Well, when can they say it?
When you get busted,
it's the next day's paper. It's a game story.
It wasn't me. It wasn't that. You just come up with stuff.
Okay.
Well, I'm just bothered by saying I don't need an MRI to confirm King Cutler quit.
Yeah.
How can one simply?
Then you have to continue to read and see what kind of quitting I'm talking about, and it's about the passion, the love of the game, and what people.
Jason, let me stop because you've been over that. Let me ask you a question. Do you think a guy that has been beaten up like he's been beaten up this year doesn't have a passion for the game that kept getting up again? 57 times this year he was sacked. 52 regular season, 5 in the preseason, and I mean sacked ferociously. Sacked by the Giants to the point where he left the field with a concussion and couldn't wait to get back. Is that, just because the passion doesn't fit what your definition of passion is, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Because you can't play that position and spend the time you have to spend and know what you have to know and be whatever you think he ought to be and take that kind of beating, because to me, there's a lot of games this year I'd have left the field. He was sacked 6 times, 2 other times. I would have left the field if I'm the quarterback. I'm saying, "You hurt my knee, you bastard. You hurt my ankle." And he's playing with guys.
Let me tell you where it's coming from.
Okay.
Why I believe that.
Silly putty he's playing. His offensive line is silly putty. They're all bad at football, but he kept getting up.
Is base it off of my playing experience and the playing experience of friends of mine that played in college and at a higher level. Take me. There were guys on my team that had far more passion for college football than I did, and for Ball State University football. Having said that, I played my entire 4th year on a torn ACL. That's not an indication of how much that I had more passion than Tim Walton, who was our star linebacker. It's what I had to do to get through that year. And one of the reasons I played on that torn ACL is because the doctors lied to me. And as soon as the season got over and I went to my own doctor, who was the Colts team doctor, it took him 2 seconds to go, "Your ACL's torn. That's why your knee gave you a problem all year." So it's not – I'm not speculating about what people will do and what the motivation is. My passion for football isn't why I played. It's what I needed to do in that situation.
Here's the
Some
thing, though.
people
Here's
play
the thing.
Game because they have the talent for it.
Look, I'm not going to argue that's
not because they love the game.
Did anybody in Denver, by the way, all the stuff you heard about him in Denver, they say he wasn't tough enough? Did anybody in Denver say, "Hey, Jason, he's not tough enough"?
Having the tough debate. Passion for the game.
No, okay, but did anybody say he wasn't tough enough?
But how does someone? What is a sufficient display of passion for the game? Is
I don't know. People that have played it can just see it.
No, but you tell the people who love it, but that's not.
Opposed to people that just play the game.
No,
you can see it.
It's
I'm just telling you,
now this is sort of a Potter Stewart pornography description.
That's
I know it
what
when
is.
I see it.
Hey, listen, it's
but
like being in love.
But that plays to the.
She loves you. Either you believe it or you say, "Well, hold on."
But
that ain't the way so and so loved me.
That plays to the meatheads, though, that you're discussing. That plays. It does. I mean, that's the whole that the coaches should be screaming. They need to look like Ditka. That Lovie Smith can't coach because he's not screaming like Ditka. You're making the anti-Lovie Smith argument that's made here, which is he doesn't have the fire and the passion.
Yeah, he doesn't.
That's a coach deal. We're talking about players. But
Same thing.
Coaches and general managers and his executives are asking themselves all the time, particularly because of the amount of money the players are getting now, is, does this guy really love the game, or does he just want to be rich? And I'm not accusing Jay Cutler of just wanting to be rich, but they're always trying to find the guy
Cedric Benson just wanted to be rich while he was here.
Passion for the game. I'm not saying that about Cutler.
That's true.
Take a James Harrison for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It makes no sense that he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL. He's barely 6 foot. He played in the Mid-American Conference. There are other players with more skill, but the dude loves the game.
But the evidence of on-field ability and channeling that to actual results is different than the everything else of how you stand on the sidelines, how you cheer on your teammates, whether or not you look at pictures, whether or not you're on crutches, whether or not you believe in MRI. Those are different things. If you can actually watch someone play, and through their play, not between the whistles, not after the play, not before the play, but during the play, I am totally with you. If you're watching with a scout's eye, you can see who wants to be out there. And from every moment this season, for Cutler, it's been all about the other stuff, not about him getting knocked silly and walking to the wrong sideline in New York and refusing to come out of the game and finally having to be pulled from that game because he didn't want to leave the field despite having a concussion, or him sacrificing his body and refusing to slide all year, multiple times, an entire career of that. I base my scout's eye on what is actually happening on the field and not all the other silliness where there's too much room for opinion and interpretation. Is that fair?
You choose that. There are other people that choose to look at other things. And what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to be offensive, some of these other people have actually been in the fire.
And a lot of those people who have been in the fire aren't real good at talking about the game, thinking about the game, or expressing themselves.
Well, and that's why they're not broadcasters, but that doesn't invalidate their opinion.
Some of them are.
My point is the opinion should stand on their own regardless, and people can make their bona fides whether they've played, whether they've observed, whether they're good at seeing things within the game. Some players are good at it,
Jason,
some players are bad at it.
I've never been a senator. I should be, though. I think it'd be better for all of America if I were a senator somewhere. But I vote, or I can vote if I want to. I've never been in the Senate. I don't know what they feel and if they're really passionate about the law or what they do or how they treat their constituency. I don't know any of those things. I mean, I can judge a person by what he says, what he does a little bit, but I'm never sure. I'm never sure of anything. But you know what I'm sure of? I'm 100% sure that Jay Cutler has a second-degree sprain of the MCL. I'm 100% sure of that. 100%.
You're a doctor and you've seen.
I don't need to. I know they're not lying, and I know exactly what happened. I will say this for you. Here's the positive thing.
You went to a journalism school?
Yes, I did.
And most journalism schools are like, if your mother tells you she loves you, get a second opinion. I mean, I don't take anything.
No, I was taught never to take something that you couldn't prove and run with it. And I would have never got by running to some of this crap that I see written online. Never. Not in a million years would that have got past the desk, because believe me, I tried. I was once accused of writing a column about a Dallas-Chicago game where they said I was making the Marlboro Man a homosexual.
Which he is.
Well, he is. Yeah, I know that, but I don't think I did that, but they said I did that, so they spiked the column. I mean, there are certain things that maybe you know, maybe you feel, but you can't, in those, that's what I was taught. I wasn't taught, certainly I was taught to question and wonder and ask, but not from a distance. Not from a distance, take those shots. And here's the positive point, and I do appreciate the fact that you call. Here's the positive point for it. You must have a lot of people in Chicago who love you, that they were tweeting you that we were trashing you. Look at it. Isn't that a positive? Maybe
no,
they played the game.
I mean, no. There's a lot of people in Chicago stirred up and passionate about this.
Well, they're wrong, though.
And what do you mean?
They're wrong. If they think the guy wasn't hurt, they're wrong too. We just talked about meathead before.
The people that were tweeting me, many of them were on your side. I mean, it was just they were just saying, "Hey, they're trashing you on the score in Chicago."
Gently.
All right. Well, either way, I think we've probably arrived. We've arrived at the conclusion of this conversation.
Yeah, we have.
And we will respectfully agree to disagree. And I will continue. I will continue to be a fan of your work.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the time.
All right,
Thank you, Jason. That's Jason Whitlock, a willing participant here on the Boers and Bernstein show.
And you haven't played the college football game.
Well,
I don't want. You know what? Even if I had I wouldn't have wanted to. I got hurt all the time when I played football. I used to play football like in the fall, and then going into winter, we'd play. People broke legs and arms, and you know what I decided about it? It really sucks.
And you know what? I don't give you guys credit very often because you don't deserve it, but that was well done.
Thank you.
On both sides.
Yeah, I think
he's not a guy that you can easily argue down, but that was good stuff.
That was a solid professional argument, and it's clear that he would rather see some of the acting and see a certain football fandom played to.
He's not alone.
And I'm just not wired that way.
He's heard or hearing things that he probably can't say.
We all are.
Right, definitely. So that was good.
A lot of things I can't say.
I actually listened to that whole segment.
Wow, that's an achievement.
Yeah.
That's the first time since when?
I've been 6 years now.
If you are new to this, we are on 1 to 6, Monday through Friday.
Look at you go.
The Boers and Bernstein show on WSCR The Score.